Hello, everybody. We're live here from the Birdhouse. It is midway through August already. It's Tuesday, August 19th, and we've got a little update for you on some of the different things that you might see passing through your backyard. And we've got some of your photo submissions and everything as well. As always, we love to know who's on. You can say hi in the comments. Definitely let us know what kind of things you're seeing in your yard. And if you have questions, you can throw those in there too. Um, if you are local, or you don't even have to be too local, you can join our photo contest. As long as you send your photos in, you can participate. We have that going on right now, and it'll run for about a month. So you can submit your 8x10 photos in different categories. We've got a birds category, wildlife, scenery category. We even have a pet category and a youth category. You can send in 2 total 8x10 photos spread throughout any of those categories. And we will be offering prizes in the form of gift certificates for all the winners. So if you are interested in that, we've got all the details up on our website, which is up on thebirdhouseny.com. You can check out our events section of the site, and you can get all the info there if you are interested in joining. And thank you for everybody who has submitted their photos already. And speaking of some interesting photos that got sent in, this was a species request sent in by Ed, who said, well, we had a feeder visitor this morning in our backyard and may need some help identifying it. We've never seen one like this in 2 decades at this location. So they had a young black bear going through their yard around the Mendon Ponds Park area, which was a really fun set of photos. And he says here, checking out the chickadee mix after taking the quad feeder pole down. So apparently the bear tore down the feeders, but as far as I know, everything survived. All of the feeders survived. He didn't destroy the feeders, thankfully, but he did drag the chickadee mix feeder away. You can kind of see it here in his mouth. He's walking away with the feeder. And there he is again, trying to open the chickadee mix feeder, which I don't think he was very successful in. So a really fun set of photos sent in there by Ed. So you never know what's going to show up in your backyard. Some other photos that were sent in from James and Sandy Sanford said, last year my husband Jim and I installed a butterfly garden in our backyard with zero expectations other than the beauty of it. We have been very pleasantly surprised the past few days. Besides our beautiful hummingbirds that enjoy the garden, we've had swallowtails, both black and yellow, common white butterflies, monarchs, hummingbird moths, and a few others. My husband was busy today taking very wonderful photos of them, and we wanted to share a few with you. So thank you to Sandy and James for sending in your photos here, some of your butterfly garden photos. Here is a cabbage white butterfly. Not too difficult to attract if you're trying to do butterfly gardening. This is probably the first butterfly you'll see flying around, the cabbage white. But then they also have some black swallowtail. Looks like it was here on a butterfly bush. One of my favorites, the hummingbird clearwing moth. This is a great photo of it. You can see how it's hovering like a hummingbird does, and you can actually see through its wings here in this photo. The wings actually are clear on this moth, which is really, really neat. A day flying moth. So this is the hummingbird clearwing moth. And then this photo is awesome. Not only is the hummingbird clearwing moth in there, but so is the tiger swallowtail. You could see the big size difference between those two. They're both enjoying the butterfly bush there. And then, of course, the monarch butterfly. And we did a class on the monarch butterfly on Saturday over at Whitehaven. And we were able to find some monarch butterfly eggs after the class on common milkweed, which is where you're most likely to find them this time of the year. You can also find their eggs on swamp milkweed and on butterfly weed. The common milkweed, although not in bloom anymore, it has these big, big leaves on them, and that's a lot of food for those caterpillars. And so that seems to be where we're seeing the most eggs. But you can also look for them on swamp milkweed, which is still in bloom in my yard, and the butterfly weed. So a couple different options there if you're looking for the monarch butterfly eggs. And this is what the caterpillars look like too. As they get larger, they have to shed their skin, and they do look different with each what's called larval instar of their growth. So now is definitely monarch butterfly time, and we are raising some caterpillars in the store too. If you've never seen them in person, pop on in and we'll show you what they look like. So and then if you are trying to find signs of caterpillars, you can always look for the signs that they leave behind. So as they're eating, they are doing a lot of pooping too. So if you go out looking at the milkweed, if you see any kind of droppings on the leaves, that is a pretty good sign that you've got some kind of caterpillar activity going on there. As far as birds in the backyard go, though, we are getting lots of reports of goldfinches, both the adults and the juveniles. We talk a lot about insects and how birds will eat a lot of insects and they need a lot of insects to raise their young. That's not the case with goldfinches, though. Goldfinches will eat almost 100% seeds. So they don't vary their diet all too much at all. And so they really don't switch their diet to insects like a lot of other birds do in the summer. So you might find that you're getting more and more goldfinches coming to your feeders because those young are out. They are hungry. The goldfinches nest late in the season, so their babies aren't out as early as a lot of the other ones are. So we're getting lots and lots of reports of goldfinches coming to Niger feeders. They love the Niger seed. They like sunflower seed and sunflower hearts. And you can provide them with both of those with our finch favorite mix, which is super, super popular and a real favorite in my backyard for finches. If you are out birding, if you're along any kind of water, we've been seeing the great egrets along the river, especially on our birding cruises, and they are still out there. I saw some out there yesterday. So the great egrets will pass through our area during their migration. And so right now is a fantastic time to see the great egrets. They're not super common in the spring here, although they do pass through, but we see a lot of them in the fall, especially on the river. So if you see a bright white heron-sized bird, that's going to be most likely a great egret. Lots of them around. But also, if you're by the water, look for some little shorebirds. We are starting shorebird migration too. And this is a very small shorebird called the least sandpiper, really, really little bird. You can see them running around on mudflats or the sides of streams and rivers. So they are migrating through as well. And as we get more into September, we'll start with seeing more ducks passing through with waterfowl migration, but we're in those early stages of migration where we've got things like the great egret and the least sandpiper, and some birds are starting to leave town. They're heading out. They're going back down to Central or South America or Mexico for the winter. And one that you might see in the skies is going to be the common nighthawk. This is more of a nocturnal bird, but when they migrate, they're known to migrate during the day. And so you might see these guys flying through the air either by themselves or in groups. And they do have pretty pointy wings with these bright white patches on them. That's a really good way to identify them. These are the common nighthawk, leaving the area, going down south for the winter. But in your backyard, you might see some migrants passing through also. If you see something robin-sized, but it is more buffy brown in color, it could very well be a veery, which is also in the thrush family. We will start to see a little bit of an increase of them as they start to pass through for their migration. And also look for brown thrasher. I usually get both veery and brown thrasher in my backyard during migration times, especially in the spring and then sometimes in the fall too. Brown thrasher are going to be larger than the robins are. They're a different type of brown too. They're more of a chestnut colored brown, and they are in that mockingbird family, so they do mimic the calls of other birds. And look at that really, really long tail. That's a good way to tell that you've got yourself a brown thrasher, and they do have a pretty long bill also. So brown thrasher will also be passing through on their way down south as they go down to their wintering habitat. So we've had them here all summer, but we tend to see an increase as they are migrating. But then some other types of birds that might be migrating through that you might still be getting in your backyard, things like orioles. So orioles are starting to fizzle out definitely in people's backyards, but we'll have sightings of orioles pretty pretty reliably through the rest of the month. They definitely start to fizzle out come September, but you might still be getting Orioles, especially as they're passing through. They might be hungry. So we've got lots of customers that are still getting them coming to their jelly on their jelly feeders, which is pretty cool. And then hummingbirds. We kind of had a slow spring with hummingbirds, slow start of the season, but right now a ton of people are reporting hummingbirds in their backyards and in big numbers. So we'll continue to get reports of hummingbirds throughout the month of September. They're passing through. If you haven't had them yet, we might be getting some from up further north that are coming through this area on their way down south for the winter. But they're definitely drinking a lot from people's plants, from their flowering plants, and they're coming to feeders. So we've been getting a lot of reports of hummingbirds. So if you hadn't had good luck with hummingbirds earlier in the season, you might want to try to get them now. If you don't have the flowering plants, you can definitely put out feeders. We have so many different types. We have the kinds that will stick to your window. We do have kinds that you can hang. We have all the accessories that you would need too. We have things like the gel that will keep the ants from getting to the feeder, from going around the pole that you've got the feeder on. We have the nectar defender, which is a really great product. This, you add just a little bit of this liquid to the hummingbird nectar and it'll keep it fresh longer. So instead of having to change out the nectar every few days, having something like this makes it so you only have to change it out every week or so. So that's really good. And depending on what kind of feeder you have, we also have the bee guards, especially for hummingbird feeders. We have the guards that you can put on the inside of the feeder to help keep the bees and wasps out. But if you have a feeder that you can't bee-proof very well, we also do have the fake bald-faced hornet's nest, these paper lanterns that mimic the bald-faced hornet nest. And bald-faced hornets are so territorial and they can be very, very nasty. So if bees and wasps see that there's something that looks like a bald-faced hornet's nest nearby, they tend to go elsewhere. So they don't want anything to do with it. So we have those in stock too. And you can always make a very sugary solution and kind of keep it away from your feeders. If you're trying to keep those bees and wasps away from your feeder, make a really sugary solution that's like 1 part water, 1 part sugar, and put it in something simple, bird bath, a dish, and put it further away from your feeders. The bees and wasps will tend to go to that, and they won't go to your feeders as often. So that's another thing you can do to kind of keep them at bay. Let's see. Barry is on and he says, good morning from Brigham, Quebec. I enjoy watching your program. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing summer so far with all the birds and butterflies. I am so glad. Yeah, we've been getting lots of people's fun sightings and photos being sent in. So it looks like everybody's been having a pretty great year with their birds and birding. And the people who've been setting up their butterfly gardens have been having good luck with those too, which is really rewarding. If you build it, they will come type of thing. So it looks like that's everybody's comments for the day. We will be back on Saturday live with another broadcast. And until then, if you've got photos, bring them in for our photo contest. You can see the other events we have coming up on our website, which is thebirdhouseny.com. And we will talk to you soon. We'll talk to you on Saturday. We'll be back. So until then, have a great week. Bye-bye.